favorite restaurant? You put me on the spot. There's so many good ones. Gosh, I don't know. I would say the one at the Stella's. They have this lamb shank. All right, that's really good. And when you see it, you're just like, wow, that's massive, and it just comes right off the butter. I would say that's probably number one. Yeah. 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 I don't know that there was anything that really surprised me, coming out of that game. I thought the guys overall did a nice job. Those games are tough. They're tough when you're playing, an opponent who's just coming off another game against a Division I, and they had to come down here and play us the day of. Like, it's not an easy situation for them, and clearly, we have a good amount of talent relative to what they have, and I thought their guys did a really nice job of just trying to stay in the game and trying to be competitive. But I thought our guys did a nice job of not getting outside of what we practiced, right? And a lot of times in those types of games, you can get out. There's a risk, because of the score. You can relax and get bored and try things that you shouldn't be trying. And I thought our guys, did a really nice job throughout the game, of playing really solid. And certainly there were things that we could do better, within the game that we expect the guys to do better. But I thought all in all, the guys played two really solid halves, and we're able to get a lot of guys out there and some minutes, and didn't play a ton of different lineups, but there were some different lineups out there, and then most importantly, you're playing against someone else, in front of fans, and that certainly is beneficial, for us, especially with the older guys, but then also getting the new guys a chance to play in front of fans, and we appreciate everybody coming, obviously, that did. What did you say now? Yeah. Yeah, definitely is important. You try to play as many as you can, but certain games it just doesn't warrant. You get into certain lineups, and I thought our guys, and we were playing guys with 3 fouls, in the first half. So it's a different scenario, but I thought the guys did well. There were a couple lineups that we did not get to, that I would have liked to, but we're trying to incorporate those in our practices. Yeah, there's no question about it. I mean, they are very unique, as it relates to the rest of the country and how they play. Very efficient, very fast. The pace at which they play is warp speed. Even if you're pressing or they're getting pressed, they're able to get into their offense, very quickly, which, is the mark of a good offensive team, because that can slow you down at times. And, they just move the ball side to side. That ball is reversed. And, they're able to attack, because they're moving it side to side really well. And they're able to get easy looks, because of that. So it's a unique offense. I mean, we're going to have in our first, several games, some unique, styles of play that are really going to challenge us. Even Merrimack, the second, home game, their defense is very unique. It's been well studied, by other coaches. And it's the same thing with Bellarmine's offense. And that's not to say that they don't have a good defense too. They defend, well. they're extremely well coached. But I'm excited about the challenges that lay ahead for us.
Is it right to assume that's part of the scheduling philosophy to get exposure to some different looks early on in the season against teams like that?
Yeah, I mean, that's certainly part of it. You want that. You want to be challenged early in the season, and see different styles. But scheduling's so hard nowadays. Just getting anyone to agree to play one another is very difficult. Football's a little bit easier for whatever reason. Basketball is just like, it's tough. Getting everybody to agree.
And you mentioned the fans a little bit ago. What have you kind of seen from them on Monday?
Yeah, I mean, I'm hearing that it's a packed house, and that's a huge thing. It's a huge thing for our players. They're really excited about it. They're excited about getting back in the Siegel with, it packed like that, and it means so much, to them. And it means a lot to our fans. It shows that our fans are excited about this team, right? And that means a lot. And the key for us, is to not make it just about one game, right? It's about every night, that we're playing, that we're having a similar, environment to the one before. And certainly not coming to see, the other team that we're playing. We're coming to see the Rams and cheer for the Rams. And I'm really proud of the fact that we have, fans that care so much about VCU and our team, and especially this particular team that a lot of these guys have come back. We got some fifth-year guys, and we've got a group of freshmen that is really exciting in a lot of ways, and so these guys deserve to be cheered on, and I'm excited for them.
Bill said he was really excited to experience the Siegel Center for the first time.
Yeah.
Can you say something you guys about the first time you had it?
Yeah, I mean, like Brandon's obviously been to some games, right? Because he's local, so he's seen it at its height, where it's really loud and aggressive. The others really haven't seen it yet, and so I'm excited, for them on Monday night to be witness to it and be a part of it. But at the same time, they have to focus in, right, on the task at hand, and can't get distracted by, kind of what's going on, exterior-wise. Let's use the fans, in a positive way for momentum, at key times and things of that nature that our guys have to focus on, how they're going to play well, Yeah, the guys are doing well. Both Zeb and Martin got out there yesterday, so pretty confident, in where they're headed right now, and the other guys are still good. So we're in a good mindset right now, and we've got obviously several more days of practice, and all won't be equal in terms of the time that we're out there, and then just how hard we're going. But we've got to get stuff done in preparation, for the beginning of the season.
Is there like confidence level like for the guys going into this season, maybe for last year, especially after the success in that?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think that our guys were not confident going into the season last year. Part of our biggest issue, which is obviously we've talked about it, mentioned it, way too many times, but just not having Sean, having him go down with that injury changed things for us, and then Joe was kind of, in and out, and not sure. I mean, this is really the first year for him, in his career that he's going in, like, okay, I know what's going on. I'm playing, right away. And, that's really cool, that he's in that mindset, when he was at Virginia Tech, obviously he didn't get many minutes, and then GW, a little bit unsure, new team, all that. And then, Oklahoma was Oklahoma. And so last year he had the whole, NCAA thing, transfer thing going on. And so, for him to be, ready to roll, that's awesome. But I think this team is confident, in its abilities. I think most importantly, they're confident in one another, which is a key thing. When I have confidence in you and you have confidence in me, that's a powerful thing. and that trust, that these guys have built, guys that are returning, obviously have last year's experience to draw from, and then, they're imparting that on the new guys. And then the new guys are bringing their own flair to it. Phil and Jack, while they're different personalities, both impact the team in a really positive way. And then you have the young guys, that aren't afraid and are confident, in their own way that they can help. And, that's a really good thing. And so we've got certainly a long way to go, but I think we're in a good place right now. But, we don't take anything for granted. We know that we're playing really good competition, early in the season, and we've got to be ready, to give our best shot, all right, and attack, when the season begins.
How has the modern college hoops landscape impacted the philosophy around redshirt?
I think it's just a personal thing, I think certainly it makes sense, for certain kids to do it, but I could also see the other side of it where, you could say, well, I don't know why I would redshirt. Let's just try to play, and I can go somewhere else if it doesn't go well, and not, sit out a year. But I think it's definitely beneficial, for guys to do that. That aren't going to be in the mix, right? As much as they want to be in the mix, because that's hard too. It's like you're sort of in, you're playing, but you're not really playing. You know what I mean? You're not getting in games, but you're still prepping like you're going to get in a game. And it's just a different feel when you redshirt because it's the finality of it, right? Right? I'm not getting in this game, so I can do extra workouts with Coach. All right, I can do extra workouts with Coach Roos. Like I can really challenge myself, all right, to really change and utilize the year in a positive way to get better and work on whatever weaknesses I have. And when you're involved in the season, it's all about the team and the prep and all of that, and not as much about the individual at that time. It's not to say that we don't still skill work and all that kind of stuff, but it is different. Right? It is different. It's different from a mental perspective for the kids that try to just do it and don't redshirt. That can be hard sometimes. And then for others that decide to redshirt, it can kind of release that pressure of I'm underperforming, I'm not playing, whatever for whatever reason. I'm behind others. I can focus on me getting better without having the mental side of it, where you're beating yourself up. Yeah, definitely more comfortable for sure. I think, year two is always, and every year is different, right? So you can't compare one to the other, but it's natural, everything's rushed in year one. From moving to meeting the team to getting the lay of the land and how you do things to the arena to where do you park? Well, there's so many things that go into it. You know what I mean? Tickets. How do they do tickets here? There's a lot of stuff that goes in that can distract you at times. From what the task at hand is, and certainly, it feels good. To be in a situation where, we are comfortable with how things go. Coaching's coaching. Every year, provides its own challenges, and each team, it's fun to put together. Last year was fun for me. Kind of overcoming the start, right, and seeing those guys not get flustered. Doesn't mean that we didn't have some bad moments, right, and trying to figure it out. But all in all, those guys, gave us everything they had and came every day, regardless of the results, and focused on what was next and trying to be part of the solution. I think ultimately they did a really nice job, but certainly not our goal, right? We didn't reach our goals, and I think this team is determined, to do that. But we can't start thinking about the end. We have to think about what's happening right now, right? Taking care of our business, day in and day out, all right, while we have the opportunity.
On that same point, what is your personal excitement level for the start of the new season, or is it just another year at the office?
No, it's not another year at the office. It never is. I mean, we're all jacked up to coach and to play and to be a part of the history of VCU basketball, right? And this group wants to and desires to have an exciting year and a fun year and certainly a winning year. And that's easier said than done. Everybody's setting out to do that right now, and that's the fun part of it. Is trying to put the best team together that we possibly can. And so if it ever stops being fun at this time of year, then you probably don't need to do it anymore. And for me, it's a blessing that I'm able to coach and certainly at the highest level, and be a part of a great tradition, and certainly coach really quality young men, right, that we have in our program. And the cool thing is you're going to get to know them as the year goes on. Like, you're going to get to know all of these kids as the year happens, and you guys will begin to know what we all know internally, is that we have some good guys, and guys that really represent VCU the right way, but our city and their communities and their families, and there's a lot of different stories in there. So I encourage you to try to dig in there and get as many of them as you can over the course of the year. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I think really well. I think for me, I'm excited that players are able to, student athletes, are able to receive these benefits. It's a huge thing, for them individually, for their families. Like, it's a big deal, and making sure that there's some guardrails around it. I mean, I think we all desire that. Just so it's a little bit more structured. Now, what that is, I don't have the answer to that, all right? But I do know it's a positive for these kids. But I can also see the other side of it, as it begins to become more public about, what's what. All right, that can put more pressure on these kids, which at a young age, I'm 50 years old, so I've been doing this a long time. Like, I understand the pressure that goes along with my job, all right? But an 18 to 22-year-old, we've got a 24-year-old, a little bit different, all right? That type of pressure when your business is out there like that. And so, from that perspective, I do see, there a need, and I think all coaches and administrations are understanding of this and are trying to get way ahead of this, without the specific guardrails being in place. And I know our people, Ed and his folks have. We've got, Dr. Jihad with us. We've got Alex Peavy with us. We've got folks, internally that are with us, daily and with our team and in our meetings, that are a part of our process and are there for these kids. And that's not where it stops. It goes outside of that, with education that we do internally and the different things that need to be done as it relates to the financial aspects and just the mental health aspects that go along with, what these kids are experiencing now. But for me personally, I'm completely, all in on it and want to be part of the solution as it relates to, where this thing, heads, overall in college athletics. And I realize that my voice is a very small voice, but at the same time, I understand the other side too. I mean, my dad, he's 82 now. Like, he wouldn't be doing this. It's just different. It's way too different, for him. But at the same time, it's a personal thing, right? And so there's no reason for us to judge one way or another, what someone's decision is. Ultimately, the individual has to be at peace with, what's happening. And certainly, Coach Bennett, we all love him and appreciate what he's done for the game, and respect, his decision to do what he felt he needed to do, for his well-being and his family's.
Talk to Michael Bell at Media Day. Talk about how confident he is going into this year after all the experience that he got as a true freshman. What you've seen from him development over the offseason.
Yeah, I mean, he's grown a little bit. He's a little bit taller. I think he's a half inch taller. His jump shot's gotten better. He's really worked at that. And I think the key for him is just taking the right ones and getting the opportunity to do that. I think you saw him attack, the other night. He really did it yesterday in practice. He had an excellent practice yesterday. And so I'm just excited to see him kind of go for it, this year and get out there. And he's always been a good defender and a rebounder and just a physical player. And he's at his best when he's really confident in himself. And certainly your teammates and coaches can give you that as well and pump you up. And he's a hard worker. He was in there, just before I walked over here, getting shots up before he had to head to class. And so he's very dedicated, to being an excellent player here for VCU. And so we're excited about this upcoming year for him. All right. Thank you, guys.